It's Friday on Jasiri, and you know what that means. All week long, we've unpacked some of the biggest issues shaping our society, from politics and policy to culture, accountability, and the stories that refuse to stay quiet. But on Fridays, we switch things up because sometimes the headlines need more than analysis. They need perspectives. And who better to give you that? Who better to bring the perspectives and the vibes than the women at this table? It's our Hot Topics segment, and we're taking on some of the week's biggest and most talked about stories. The ones that sparked debates and some that didn't even make it to the front pages but deserve another look. Nothing is off the table. From politics to pulp culture, from policy decisions to viral moments, we're giving you our unfiltered take, whether you like it or not. So get comfortable, because the ladies are about to dive in. This is Hot Topics Friday. Roll the montage.
We start with an update on the situation following the death of famed author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's 21-month-old son when the family was in Nigeria in January. Now, 3 doctors have now been suspended from practicing medicine following investigations into the death of Nkanu Adichie Esege. The Medical and Dental Practitioners Investigation Panel announced the suspension of Dr. Tunde Majekodunmi, the medical director of Irocare Multi-Specialist Hospital, alongside anesthesiologist Dr. Titus Ogundare and pediatrician Dr. Atinuke Uwaje. According to the panel, the doctors have been barred from practicing medicine pending the final determination of their cases by the Medical and Dental Practitioners Disciplinary Tribunal. Now, the decision followed a review of complaints against 21 doctors, including counter affidavits and oral depositions taken under oath during the panel sessions in Abuja in February 2026.
All right, so here's the background to the story. Adichie had earlier alleged medical negligence after the death of her son, who passed away on the 7th of January 2026 during a brief Christmas visit after what initially appeared to be a common cold, but later developed into a serious infection. He was then first taken to Atlantis Pediatric Hospital, where doctors began treatment. Plans were already underway for the child to travel to the United States the following day for further medical care, with doctors arranged to accompany him and a medical team reportedly ready to receive him abroad. Now, before the trip, doctors recommended that he undergo an MRI scan and the insertion of a central line, procedures that required sedation. The family was then referred to Irocare Hospital in Lagos to carry out those procedures. Adichie alleged that during the process, her son was sedated with propofol but wasn't properly monitored, which she said led to loss of responsiveness, seizures, and eventually the cardiac arrest. Let's take reactions. They denied any negligence, but now they know she's not relenting. They suddenly want to find a scapegoat. She better sue them for every single red cent and then some.
This is sad. In no distant time, they would apologize and get reinstated while the victim continued to grieve. Doctors have to be very careful when handling issues pertaining to someone's life. Dennis Jr. There are many unresolved cases out there where the victims are still licking their wounds. Kudos to the panel. Shout out to all the healthcare professionals who are maintaining core professional ethics and protocol. That's Lan John something. Clem says, being rich in Nigeria doesn't inoculate against Nigeria itself, and it affords you some form of justice after the worst things possible have happened to you. To be honest, with you Nigerians, it is because she's a public figure that's why they are nitpicking. Let them release the intra-up notes. You guys will see that what they are doing is looking for scapegoats. Let them do autopsy. Let's find out what the real cause of death is. Ayo Badmus Tabi. I really hope she doesn't sue them. People like to prolong emotional pain for no good reason. I don't think it's worth relieving the trauma over and over just for the money. I don't think it's about money.
You know, sometimes it's not just the money, guys.
It's
not just the money. It's some form of closure. It's some form of getting things done the right way. It's like when you have a problem and you say, I don't want to go to litigation because everybody says it's a long path before the story of you can be there 9 months, a year, 2 years, depending on the severity of the case. But I also ask myself often, must we wait till we get here for us to do something? If it weren't Chimamanda's son, and then she taking it up as strongly as this, then what would happen? Because sometimes you hear people say, just forget about it. It's God that gives, it's God that takes, and then they continue with it. But that doesn't always solve the problem.
And you see inside the tweets this idea of, just let it go and let God.
Yeah.
And that doesn't change any society.
No, it doesn't.
And then you also see the parts of where people are talking about because she's rich. And then being rich doesn't inoculate you, doesn't keep you from Nigeria's issues, which is very, very true, unfortunately. But being rich and famous doesn't mean that that's the reason. Well, I think not necessarily being famous, but I think having resources makes it easier for her and her family to be in this for the long haul.
Yes.
To see a difference in the situation. What happened was very sad. And for people to say, let go and let God, you have to think about it in terms of what happens to the next family. Yeah. If we always let go and let God, what happens to the next family? What happens to our friends? What happens to anybody else who might run into this situation?
How long will we be?
How long will we be letting go and letting God?
Exactly. There is so many things. There's so many gray areas when it comes to medical negligence or medical malpractice that even if you're looking at the case law, if it is not so extensive in Nigeria, it's very limited.
Yeah.
This is not the first case that we have dealt with on this table. Remember the lawyer whose wife died during childbirth?
Yes,
there are so many of these cases that really the Medical and Dental Practitioners Association really need to look into. Because even doctors, they should hold them accountable. Many a times because they know that the searchlight is not on them and that nothing is really going to happen. So a lot of them are just cut corners or do things that they are not supposed to do.
Or lay low for just a few months.
There is a way that medical, it's a high calling, I know. But there are proper ways to do something. Imagine somebody strapping you to a gurney that has no restriction. That means if somebody is having seizures, he can fall off. That one you don't need someone to teach you. How about you're getting an operation and surgery done, and there is no professional anesthesiologist there? We can't do that.
When it comes to healthcare in Nigeria, I would say that they failed us woefully because not enough is being budgeted for healthcare. The states have failed us. The government has failed us. And, it's not even about that. You have, so many policies come into play, but then even the hospitals themselves do not stick to what they're supposed to do. Yeah. Okay, so now you have a gunshot wound and you take someone to the hospital and they'll tell you, no, you need to go back to the police station, get a police report before they can actually do anything on you. It doesn't make sense. No. And so you have so many people right now in accidents, and then people just watch them and then pass because they do not even want the stress of going to the police station because you might even end up getting arrested and being treated as a culprit.
Don't you remember that case that we treated? Exactly. That girl that was in Abuja or something that took someone to the hospital and it became a really messy affair.
Exactly.
This is okay. Taking a leaf from what you've said, Dashan, generally now, medical care in the country. My neighbor just passed away. And this is a man who lives, with himself. He's a landlord of his building. He just passed away. I didn't know. It was the next morning. Apparently there was a furore at night with gates banging. Oh, they had to rush him somewhere. They took him to a hospital. I don't know exactly what happened, but he had BP issues. They took him to one hospital who rejected him. And by the time you take him to another hospital, by the time you now end up taking him to on the road, when the time they reached the Egbeda hospital in Egbeda, he had already given up. And they said they queued for oxygen. And they were number 200 for oxygen. So let's look at, I'm serious, taking a leaf from what Dashan started by saying that healthcare, we are in a woeful situation. So in my estate, you hear some people starting to think and to plan, if there's an emergency, which hospital do they go to? To first of all establish that
because they're not guaranteed that even the hospital closest to them can, in an emergency, take care of them.
I agree with Tolu when she said that, you know, they have the money to, you know, carry this for the long haul. Because I saw a similar situation while I was going through, you know, the link he actually shared. And it was a lady, we don't even know her, but apparently she lost her child. And, you know, it was a whole ruckus at the hospital. That the child, you know, was coughing. She brought him to the hospital and she requested for water. Water. The nurses couldn't bring water to her. They did not, you know, they didn't even do anything. They didn't try to help the child, nothing. After coughing for 1 hour, the child died.
Jesus Christ. Just like that.
They did not try to help, nothing.
You see, that's the thing. Nurses, and we've talked about it on this table as well. This is a conversation that is in layers. I had my daughter in a hospital in Lagos, and I wanted water. They brought me pure water. And I said I wasn't going to take pure water.
Not in a hospital.
In a hospital.
How pure is it? Where is it coming from?
Have you seen hospitals? Honestly, if we want to begin to break apart hospitals, we need help in our healthcare in Nigeria. And we need more eyes on medical practice. Because right now, a lot of people need help. So some hospitals are giving substandard service just because they want to reach more people. So when that is doing more harm than good. Imagine when you go and buy that woman that is dealing with the fascinating situation. Imagine that. And you are wondering that when medical practice is moving in leaps and bounds
outside of the country,
we are still struggling with. So when a hospital will tell you that they don't think that you can afford this test, that's why
they didn't offer it to you.
They didn't offer you.
Lay down the options. Let's see.
My mother died
I cannot.
because our regular doctors, you know how your mothers can be fastidious about who treats them. She just likes to go there. And I remember that my daughter would take her. She'll come back in the evening. She was still coughing. Do you know the man never did even a chest scan for her once? Not knowing that she had prolonged pneumonia that has caused water to gather in her lungs for a long time.
We've not even talked about the cases of wrong diagnosis, right?
We've had guests on this table.
Tolu, who is even to say that? Okay, so what they should have actually done, I feel they should have, you know, revoked their licenses, not suspended, because these people work in different hospitals.
So remember when this case happened, and there's a tweet that we had there that calls for an autopsy. I can only imagine as a mother thinking about them autopsying my child, but it is one step closer to the truth. And I've said it before on this table, Nigerians don't do enough autopsies.
No, we don't.
We have a lot of cases of death, or what is the cause of death, that I think should be questioned. We don't do autopsies. Autopsies are not just to find out how somebody died. It can also help family members that are still alive find out if this thing is genetic. You might find out that there's something that is a DNA thing.
Even because this is a high-profile case.
Exactly.
Trust me, if this is not a high-profile case, it's not even about their resources sometimes. But the eye of the world is
for Lagos State to have to get involved in this case. We know, and it should not be so. Any death in a hospital, any death in anywhere should be investigated, looked into. So you can't revoke their licenses immediately. No, that's wrong. You suspend. Because if you come back and you find out that they're not guilty, you revoke.
But in the meantime, will they be working in other hospitals?
Suspension means they cannot work in any capacity.
So you see, that suspension is that. But you know, the temperature of Nigerians on this matter would be that from suspension, they would go scot-free. They were probably lying low for a couple of months, but then come back up. We had Dr. Chibuki on the table, which a couple of days ago. And when we say people don't like to go to hospitals, it's a combination of reasons why they don't. It's not right for them not to want to go to hospital, but it's a combination of reasons that make them say, with what I'm hearing, I beg, let me not just go there and not
and sometimes we have to consider that the doctors that we have presently are still overworked. This Japa syndrome has drained the ecosystem. The healthcare system is struggling. But we did the statistics. When you're looking at the doctor to the ratio of patients, it's enough for any doctor to be like this.
When they come and they are sleepy. I think about 2 weeks ago, who was training, who talked about being the only doctor on call in one hospital, and she's on call basically 24 hours. So after 2 or 3 days, how do we not expect there to be possible, not maybe negligence, but error? Nobody can function at that level for a sustained period of time without somehow slipping up. But there's another angle we wanted to quickly look.
Now, there are actually two specific tweets, that also caught my attention in this situation, and I would want us, to look at them as well. A Dr. Afolarin tweeted after news of the suspension that patients are not doctors' friends. And let's look at his tweets.
As they don't suspend one for the few interventional cardiologists that we have in the country, this is a reminder. In caps, patients are not your friend. Patients are not your friend. Patients are not your friend. Do not cut corners or skip protocol while trying to discharge your duties. They'll roast you and take away your license that took you 15 years to attain. Medicine is not any foolish calling. It is a job. That's all it is. Do it to the letter and go home. You first, always.
Are you saying it's because of finish that this is happening? And in a now deleted tweet, ex-user at Overtaker_2 said, and I quote, "As they have suspended intervention cardiologist license now, I hope we know they're not up to 10 in the country and Lagos is lucky to have 3. Okay, now.
I said we had to come back to these tweets because you are looking at a child that has lost his life, a family that is grieving, and you're equating it to the fact that we only have 4, how many of them? 10 of these interventionists in Nigeria. Yes, we only have 10. We should have more than 10. But for you to make it seem like it's a bad thing for him to have been suspended pending the outcome of this investigation, I couldn't wrap my head around that. And I believe that's why he deleted that tweet, because people must have taken him on.
Exactly.
It didn't make any sense.
The death of the child. Don't you, no matter, advanced countries now, even in surgery, they record everything. So that if these kinds of situations happen,
they
want to
back to
there are so many things that are going on with even doctors, even abroad in Nigeria. I never knew until I started watching some medical dramas. Do you know some doctors have drug addictions
issues,
problems, issues that they themselves can be hallucinating, their hands can shake during. There's so many things that can go wrong. So we need to be stepping up, not stepping backward.
Let me tell you a horrible story. It was, I think it happened in Brazil. If it's not Brazil, somewhere in South America. He was an anesthesiologist. And you know, with anesthesiologists, depending on the procedure, they put a curtain up between your head and maybe wherever they're operating for women. And so this guy apparently was giving them extra doses of whatever was putting the women to sleep. And while the women were asleep, he was putting his penis in their mouth.
No, I saw it somewhere.
So the nurses started suspecting that these women take longer to wake up than they should. They're not as responsive as they should be. And so they set up a camera. And they had to record him in action, and that's how they caught him. So when you talk about the medical sector, it's not just a night. Our issue is specific to issues around brain drain, education, pipeline, but it's not that every other medical sector around the world does not have issues. Do you know what is happening in the NHS right now?
I need to also say, I cannot overemphasize that nurses as well, you need to have empathy. You need to have empathy. See, forget that you're a nurse and somebody's life is in your hands. You need to be kinder to your patients. Yes, we understand that, doctors or nurses are not your friends, but you need to be kind. That is the only way you can actually treat people the way they're expected to. I saw a video. I don't want to send it to because for Tolu,
I've told you, I'll block you.
Honestly, because okay, so this I think the woman just gave birth, right? And the child was sleeping and all that. And this nurse took the child I think the child shouldn't be up to 2 weeks. And she was trying to, just check on the child and everything. And she was dragging the child's hands. The child was crying because the child was still a baby, 2 weeks, right? Hitting the child. It still had like a tube in its nose. Hitting, slapping, beating the child to stop crying. I'm telling you. A nurse. It was recorded.
All these things. Another thing that I see that is happening around the world. Because of these, I want to jackpot every hook, Dick, Fusha, Kemi, Alexandra, Alima, all of them are now caregivers. No training. No,
they do training, but the choice of being a caregiver was never what they wanted. It was a means to an end.
They are just forced into this situation. Training someone to just know how to lift a person. What do they give them in training, really? But you see many of them are doing this job because they don't want to be.
It's just
doing the job.
Says it's
we have to go on a quick break, but a quick message coming in from Mustafa Samaru says, kindly keep talking about wrong diagnosis by Nigerian doctors. This kills a lot of patients. And it's a conversation we've had here and we'll continue to have. But we have a lot more stories and there's a lot to talk about. So coming up after the break, a soldier's video that has sparked outrage, sympathy, and serious questions. Lance Corporal Rotimi Olamilekan, serving Maiduguri, went viral after calling on Nigeria's political leaders to send their own sons to the front lines and experience what soldiers face daily. The video quickly spread online, and now he's reportedly in detention. What exactly did he say, and why has it struck a nerve across the country? But before that, we have the story coming out of Cross River where a lawmaker who allegedly assaulted his wife has now been suspended. But my God, guys, the wife has responded.
Hey.
You need to listen to the response. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you've missed a very important portion of Jasiri today, but we still have a lot of interesting stories to take. A lawmaker in Cross River State, Dickson Agbor, has been suspended indefinitely by the Cross River State House of Assembly over allegations that he physically assaulted his wife. According to the report, the incident happened on February 28th at the Assembly's quarters after the lawmaker allegedly accused his wife of infidelity. The suspension followed a motion moved by Davis Etta and seconded by Francis Basia Sukwo. Presenting the motion, Etta condemned the alleged act, describing the conduct as unbecoming of a lawmaker and contrary to the ethical standards expected of members of the legislature. The Speaker of the House, Elbert Ayandem, also stressed that the Assembly remains committed to discipline and protecting the integrity of the legislature, adding that the House will not condone any form of misconduct capable of bringing this institution into disrepute. Following the deliberations, the Assembly suspended Agbor from all the legislative activities pending the outcome of an investigation. They have set up a committee to probe the matter. Meanwhile, Cross River State Governor Basi Otu and his wife, Ayoayam Otu, has earlier criticized the alleged incident, describing the lawmaker's actions as irresponsible.
All right. Now, interestingly, the lawmaker's wife, Gloria Agbor, has since called for privacy, saying that the matter has been resolved within the family. Now, she's urging the public to allow them move on. Here's her statement, and I quote, "I am Mrs. Glory Agbor, the wife of Honorable Ovat Agbor. I had earlier come online this morning to address the issue lingering on the social media space about my family, which I feel the general public would have respected my decision and allowed me take full responsibility for my actions like I stated. It's quite unfortunate that the more I try to calm the situation, the more it escalates. But the truth remains that all information flying on social media about my family are false. I wish to state here and now that I was misled by some group of friends. The Legislators' Wives Association, led by the wife of the Speaker, whom I felt had my best interest, but contrary to my thoughts. Today, I openly announced my resignation from the said Legislators' Wives Association group, and I cease to be a member from henceforth. I choose my family," end of quote.
No, we're not done, no. The statement continues. She goes on to say, "It's no doubt that some people have tried to paint the name of my family in a bad light. But I stand here to vehemently debunk that view against my family and state clearly that my husband and I are at peace with each other. Even though issues arose, we have been able to amicably resolve our differences. As I said, this is my family, and no marriage is totally perfect.
Wow.
Please leave my family alone. The general public is advised to please note and stay away from my family. Abba Jalingo precisely, I'll tell you who he is, and any other persons. Whether you're being paid or not to drag my family, please stop, or my family will be compelled to take legal actions against anyone if this continues. I wish to use this medium to apologize to my dear husband, Honorable Dickson Agbor, and my entire family over these misconceptions against him. Please forgive me, as this will never repeat itself again. End quotes. So the Abba Jalingo that she's mentioning is actually an investigative reporter, investigative journalist based out of Cross River. This situation happened in the... no, it's good. Let us see it. Let us... So, you know that she, in all of this statement, this woman did not say that that's not her. Yeah. She did not say that he did not hit her. All she said at this point is, I choose my family. This is Stockholm Syndrome.
You know, it's good. Wait,
let's take reactions first. No, Dash, let's not. Okay. Because once you peel this off,
all right,
no, it will be hard to stop.
This is, she chose her husband. Let's take reactions.
No.
All right, let's go ahead and take reactions. Do we have reactions?
Not seeing the gate.
All right.
I said it. Stockholm, let me be the one to read it. I said it. Stockholm Syndrome. Poor woman is taking responsibility for someone beating the hell out of her. She needs help with her self-esteem and confidence. Even other legislators' wives showing concern for her isn't enough because she has no confidence and she's experiencing coercive control. Name it and shame it. If she is comfortable with the way she is treated, then who am I to say otherwise? Enjoy your peaceful husband, madam.
Where?
You are there because you don't want to lose being called a honorable wife, Abi. You let a man beat you the first time and you didn't pack your bags. Now, to this extent, some men are very demonic. God, what is this? This man has allowed the enemies to play with his political ambition, courtesy of this domestic display. I'm not, no. So this woman, go ahead.
So this woman, no live where children been, they learn how to fight. She no get brothers, family members, or even enemies. What kind of play is this? And she came out to say, make we shut up. How she type this kind eye, with this kind eye? Please, where is she from? That's from Messians. This is from Tessie Ushie Ube. And he says, I'm not sure she's the one, or was she compelled to give that public notice or correspondence stating that all is well with her and that it was just a little misunderstanding between she and her husband? This, in actuality, doesn't look like a little misunderstanding, rather a serious abuse and inhumanity that needs justice, with or without her permission. There is no justification whatsoever for such a life-threatening action by the husband. So if she's acting all right over this, then it can only be as a result of helplessness.
We're going on the break. Because if we start...
one short line.
Because I've just seen some more context. Go ahead. You said one line.
This lady even said, I just want to say it's good to know that her eyes, are even opened enough for her to type all of this. That was all I wanted to say.
Let's go on a break, because after the break, we'll give you context and we'll give you what we
should use the bride.
There's a lot in this story, but let me give you some context that has been provided. Now, according to the Daily Post, and they said that the Assembly was not willing to disclose the nature of violence in which the suspended legislator was involved in, but he is alleged to have constantly manhandled his wife following his excessive drinking and late-night habits. It's also said that he was escorted out of plenary on Thursday when he was suspended. But beyond that, it's said that, this is where I find things to be very interesting, that both the governor and his wife have been aware, and that the governor's wife has been furious over the habitual beating of Mrs. Ovat by her husband. And Daily Post reports that it was learned a few weeks ago that the Speaker of the Assembly, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, had to drive to Agbor's house in the night to rescue the wife and take her to the hospital. But then she releases a public statement and says that the public ought to respect her privacy even though some wives of legislators, especially wife of the speaker, have misled her. They've told her that they want to make her a divorcee. They want to make her a single mother.
Of course.
That these women want to remove her from her husband's house. That all the things that she has worked for and sacrificed for. That maybe, yes, somebody said ambition. Maybe, yes, he does have political ambition. That they don't want her to enjoy the ambition.
No, let's take a look at it from this perspective. How do you help a woman who's obviously crying for help silently, but is overwhelmed by, you know, the voices of those around her? Obviously, she's not okay. We know that this is a script that was given to her to type from her account.
Typed on her behalf.
Yes, typed on her behalf. She didn't type this. She didn't see her account or her page exactly was used to send this information out. So how do you rescue? How do you?
Every time we keep saying on this table, there's a perception. Every time we keep saying that women, you need to have a life. A woman that is self-possessed, that is comfortable, that has confidence, that has something going for her, she would be able to stand on her 2 feet, even if there are dissenting opinions here and there. She knows that if I opt out, I am not going to start from ground zero. But if you are living off a man that you have no life of your own, the fear alone.
But you know there are some men
being cast aside
that refuse to let you expand. They say, "Don't worry about things. I will take care of it. You don't need to work. I will take care of this."
It still doesn't stop you from investing. It still doesn't stop you from investing.
To stay there, to keep them at home, to not further their educations. But I want to counter something Lolo said, because I think I can't remember the guest we had this week, or was it last week? We need to be careful because we tend to oftentimes make domestic violence almost an issue of people in the lower echelon.
Is this on lower echelon?
Exactly. I want us to remember this is not lower echelon. This is not the lower part of our society. This is a woman who, for all intents and purposes, is probably about the 10%
member of the house
of the population in this country. She's the wife of a member of the State House of Assembly. Doesn't mean that she's all everything, but their level is a bit higher than the majority of Nigerians. That being said, I said Stockholm Syndrome earlier, and I think there's a number of things, and I talk about the data. This is a woman that, I'm so sorry, I said it, because if this man, if he is guilty of this and he kills her, it's almost going to be a lack of empathy that comes for her. Because right now that the empathy is pouring in, right now that the governor's wife apparently is involved, right now that the State House of Assembly is involved for your matter, is the opportunity you need. We don't know how many children they have. I'm trying to figure out how long they've been married. But let me also tell you that when women want to leave domestic violence situations, oftentimes it takes them more than 7 attempts to successfully leave. And the most dangerous time for women in domestic violence situations is that point when they're leaving. If you look at a number of men who have killed their wives or girlfriends, it is in that period when they've said it's over and they have actually successfully left.
I'm going to go back to what Kathy said. How do you help a woman in this situation who clearly needs help but doesn't know? She can't even help herself. Because I have actually been in a situation where I have helped a friend leave an abusive marriage.
And they went back?
Only for her to go back.
And then you became the enemy.
You are the bad person.
You became the enemy.
My sister, I was an enemy. The mother was like all over my case, the family and everything.
Now you mentioned family.
Like,
you don't know
I washed my hands off everything. I washed my hands off everything. Now she left on her own accord. And that, me helping her was the 3rd attempt.
What did I tell you about attempts? What did I just say about attempts?
So how do you help someone like that?
And did you notice all the statement? She kept saying the family, the family, the family. She's trying to put everybody under an umbrella and isolate and include the man so that they are not looking at him as an individual. She only mentioned my husband almost towards the end. You know, there are so many psychological...
She's also saying the family. Where is
the family?
Where is she?
Where is she? That's what I'm saying.
Where is she?
She's hiding behind like an omnibus talk so that she can be insulated, kind of.
For her to agree to even show her face to the world, it means she's tired and she needs help. And I think we should actually go past, you know, this recent, what do you call it, that she posted saying, leave her family. The statement that she posted saying, leave my family alone, and actually help her.
Okay, listen.
Let's take a look at exactly. A grown-up woman. How do you remove
her? The speaker left with the wife. I mean, the governor left to go and remove her physically.
And she went back.
And the truth is, how much more can they do? If she comes from a family where her parents or her siblings will tell her, will impress upon her the importance of being in that.
Yes, so
and
maybe they are enjoying the largesse of the man.
She married at when she was really young.
They don't mind
the
if
man
she
has
dies
been grooming her and working on her. There's a way a man will talk to you. Maybe he talks derogatorily. She begins to get used to it.
She believes what he says.
Yeah.
She
we
wants
talked
to
about
leave,
it
but she doesn't know
yesterday,
how to.
and we said that there's some women that if you don't beat them, it feels like you do not love them at all.
Yeah, like they need your
How many times I
correction.
heard that on radio?
Yes.
They think that being beaten by their spouse or their partner is
glad.
the spouse showing love.
Yeah,
I remember a guy
correcting them.
I remember a guy who shared that he was in such a relationship. He wasn't the one beating, but after a time, the woman was like, "Don't you love me?" And he's like, "Why?" She said, "You don't beat me."
That was the Stockholm syndrome. I
And
mean,
you know, somebody said
it's beyond it.
I don't know where it was. I think one of the comments said it about being honorable Mrs. whatever they call them. I don't know.
It may not be that
This
for her.
Mrs. title. This, what will people say? This, I cannot leave the marriage I've sacrificed for somebody else to come and enjoy.
I've invested
Whatever
in.
else you tell yourself, not all of it is a bloody lie.
If you've been married 10 years,
if you die,
you want to spend another 10 years
10
living
years.
like this.
You know, there
These
was
are
a story they
questions
posted
that
on
should
our
be
platform, and I cried all the way to work. And I had to ask myself that, what really needs to happen for someone to save your own life?
For someone to choose themselves.
To choose themselves.
Nigerian women
Is it
need to
when
choose
all your fingers are
themselves?
crossed and your legs are broken and you cannot even lift a finger?
This is a conversation for...
Is that when you would...
conversation.
The whole state is
a clear
focusing on her
example
now,
should be
and she's still refusing.
A clear example should be that of the gospel singer that lost her life,
Osinachi
or something, you know. But then let's move on. You know, this next story appears to have gone under the radar for many people. Now, Lance Corporal Rotimi Olamilekan, who was serving with 81 Div Task Force Battalion in Maiduguri, is reportedly in detention after a video of him calling out governors, senators, ministers, and House of Representatives in Nigeria went viral. Now, in the video, Olamilekan speaks on fairness, asking Nigerian politicians to consider releasing their sons or to join the army, that's the Nigerian army, to witness what those in the army go through as they help fight terrorism in the country. Now, let's take a look at what he said.
Ladies and gentlemen, so boy, soldier boy, please, I have a very important message for Nigeria. Me, the way I dey lose my colleagues is getting to things where we say, it dey comot tears for me, for my eye, day by day. In this country, we have 36 governors. We have like senator 109 senators. We get even the minister, we have like almost 60. We have House of Representatives, chairman of local governments, 774. Let each one of them bring their son to join the Nigerian army. May they join the Nigerian army, not even the officer career. May they join the other rank. The other rank in Nigerian army. Let each of all those governors, all the senator, all those ministers, let them bring their son. May they bring them, may they join Nigerian army other rank. So that they can come and witness what we will not get people, what will they witness. Every day by day, this killing is too much. Person they lost, so we go lost our colleagues ambush. You go lost colleagues, you go cry tire. Who know who is next?
Okay.
Go ahead.
It was reported that Olamilekan was arrested on the 11th of February, briefly detained in Maiduguri before transferred to Abuja, where he is still reportedly in secret detention. It's been claimed that he was not permitted to inform his family members about his arrest, but he managed to ask colleagues to notify his aged mother that he had been taken to Abuja. So as of now, there's been no statement from the army or his reported detention. Olamilekan has reportedly spent 4 years and 8 months in Maiduguri on counter-insurgency operations without any promotion or additional benefits. So Nigerians have been calling out the Nigerian army and demanding for his release since. So here's what Nigerians are saying.
My friend died in Maiduguri as a Navy officer, very young guy, only son for that matter, but I blame families allowing their children to still join force in Nigeria. He was detained for saying the truth. Most politicians and politicians' kids abroad pride themselves in their military service to their country. To be honest, I think this suggestion makes a lot of sense. If these politicians' children are at the forefront defending the country, it will force their parents to take decisive actions regarding the security situation of Nigeria. There are code of conduct in the army, same as any army formation in the world. If he wants to be an activist, he should come out of the army. I know this is online and you guys don't see anything wrong with what he did, but he is a personnel under the oath who willingly took the oath. He doesn't have the same rights as civilians. None of their kids are ever in the army. Isn't that funny for a group of people who claim they love the country and are working for the country? They are the ones who benefit the most from the country. It only makes sense that members of their family or relatives are enlisted in the army to defend the country where their parents are milking resources from. Just before we talk, because this one hits a bit hard. And yes, there's a code for people who serve in the armed forces that is different than what it is for civilians, and there are different expectations. And we put this to our research team, and they shared this with us, that in Nigeria there are several laws and military codes that restrict soldiers from publicly discussing their conditions of service, operational matters, or politics. And the restrictions come mainly from military law, public service rules, and constitutional provisions governing the armed forces. So you have something like the Armed Forces Act that is also there. You have harmonized terms and conditions of service for the armed forces of Nigeria, public service rules as well. You have the 1999 Constitution of the country, Section 221. You also have military standing orders, defense headquarters communication policy. So Nigerian soldiers are barred from publicly discussing service conditions or politics by these acts. So it gives an understanding of the response of the military so far. But what I do not like about the response of the military, and as a civilian, I'll say I don't agree, but those are the rules, and those are the rules across the world.
I agree.
These rules are not different per se per Nigeria.
Yeah,
what I don't agree with is that journalists are reaching out to the army, asking about this Lance Corporal Rotimi Olamilekan, and the army is saying nothing. That part I don't like, and I don't think it should continue.
I know that before somebody will set ring lights, that is an army official, and he would say his mind. Trust me. He has already said, if I talk, I die.
If I don't talk, I die.
So I just choose one die. I know that he must have been like extreme, though I know that they are governed by rules.
Imagine how many people he has
regulation.
lost.
But for him to set ring light and be talking publicly, trust me, he has already thought to himself that what's the worst that can happen? They will kill me. But you know, the world is changing. There are so many things that, if you look at all the agencies in the world, the army, the this, the gbogbo, maybe there are some things that they benefit that some don't get.
Is it love for their country, passion to fight?
I don't, like me, to know what motivates Nigerian army officials would have to do maybe an expose, because I would love to know what their motivation is.
For joining the army?
Yes, for joining the army, because I cannot say, because I don't know any military person.
Some could be poverty, some could be, love for the country. There are people in Nigeria who, would die for their country.
I would love to meet such people and watch the documentary. I would like to watch the documentary and know that, his love for my country, Nigeria, that's why I'm doing this. I would love to hear
the way she said, I would love to meet those people who have love for the country and are willing to die for Nigeria. It's the way she said it.
Because if you are in the army, I believe that there are just some basic things that need to be provided. Sure, you guys know this is not the first time we are hearing this kind of frustrated
from military
Do you remember
personnel.
one that told us about the portions of food they give them? Do you remember?
Yeah.
That talked about the beans, the rice, the small portions.
Another perspective. No one forced you to join the army. No one. Fine. It's the
We
same
have laid
thing,
the
like no one
premise.
forced you to join the police force. You just want to be, you know, in the force. You just choose the force you want to be in. If someone...
You heard it too, Abi.
No,
Say it. Say it.
We just said it
It's
now.
also a reason.
Yeah,
that
I said it
poverty,
now.
Yes,
okay,
it's
poverty
also a
makes you,
reason.
or desperation even, makes you
Lack of
join
what to
the
do.
force. Okay, so you become a soldier. Fine, there are rules and regulations, and like ladies have said on this table, maybe the guy just reached a point where he say, I will just say it, anything that wants to happen, 2 seconds, make everywhere bust. And now everywhere has truly burst. But let's take a look at what he's talking about. Have we ever thought about it? Let politicians think of sending their kids. Can they? Probably if they send their children to the front line, maybe...
Catherine, you are going far. Have you asked them to send them to Nigerian schools first?
Yeah.
You are asking army. That's a long thing.
but
Have you asked them to send them to Nigerian hospitals?
Conditions then will improve because they know that they're...
Or if they have not improved education because their children are not here, and they have not improved healthcare, their children are not here.
Because it does.
It's army.
For me,
You want them to put their children to fight for Nigeria.
Ladies,
that some of them don't even believe
Ladies,
it.
for me, Sha, I feel it's not a bad idea, honestly, because you have these politicians grooming their sons and their daughters to take over as politicians. So why not groom them, you know, so that they go to the front lines, find out how it is happening, what is happening, and figure out a way to save the country for when they will be groomed as politicians, right?
So,
yes, it makes a lot of sense.
English is a
you
lot.
got to it now. You
a lot of groom and foil and groom and foil and groom.
You go to a lot of countries and you find out even Prince Harry. Prince Harry was in the army.
Their children also don't do NYSC.
Prince Harry was in the army. He understood what it meant to serve his country.
He was not the heir.
He was.
Remember, there's the heir. And the spare.
But even spare or heir, whatever it is, but it is the child of, you know, from a royal family, right?
No matter how he bears the name, they know where they go put
I
the
just
name.
want to say, so we might likely see an end to insurgency, and that is a prayer because that is the hope. That is the hope that we have, because we're seeing that West African leaders have decided to launch a new specialized military force to tackle the rise of
what happened to the West African Regional JTF?
They're forming another one. So this is like a 2,000 man standing up. We have like 5 specialized army.
But do you know that when we see something like this happening, this is like an indication of what the problem is on the ground. Many of them might not come out and
like
set ring like Tolu. But if there's dissatisfaction, if there's... Before they go turn on us one day.
I had said it before on
that, you know what? I'm not facing these people, I'm facing this side.
Behind the picture they are feeding to the citizens, and it's not the picture that those at the forefront, the battlefront, that they're seeing. It's completely different. And it's the same thing. It's like information. If you want to share information or trickle information down, let there be 20 people who are here, and then you say something from the first person. By the time it reaches the 20th person, what they told the first person would have changed. So there's information mishap along the lines. And then Nigerians, because we are laissez-faire and blasé people, because we have been conditioned to... See, there's a lot of things wrong with even us as Nigerians. Let's be honest.
So let me take a comment from WhatsApp. Rabi says, good morning. Joining forces in Nigeria is not really about passion for 85% of people. Lack of job and poverty is the cause, not passion. I don't think this is over. Again, the army has made no statement about this, and he's said to have an aged mother and who has now been informed. We are reaching out to the Army headquarters as well, hierarchy, to get some level of statement in regards to Lance Corporal Rotimi Olamilekan, and we'll keep you updated on that.
Do you know? I hope they discharge him and leave him.
Let him just
dismiss him dishonorable guy.
Because for you to spend 4 years in Maiduguri, do you know what you've seen?
Do you know what it does to your mental?
The guy's brain
has lost.
Yes. He might be mentally unstable.
He said it,
and
that he has lost
this
so
juicy
many
story
people.
I wanted us to enter today.
No, we might hold on to it. It might have a new dimension. But it's a Friday, and we've taken as much as we can because we have to call it a wrap. That's it for today's Hot Topics. These stories were big, the opinions were strong, and the debate, as always, continues beyond the table. Thank you so much for joining us on Jasiri. We hope we gave you something to think about and something to talk about, and maybe even something to argue about this weekend. Have a fantastic Friday and a restful weekend. We'll
In
see
this
you
Lagos.
10 a.m. next week, 10 a.m. on Monday. Have a good one.
Weekend.
Bye.
Oh, if I, yeah. Restful weekend.
God.
Lagos.